mute that, huh?
It's on 1. I mean,
Yeah. No, I'm sure it's fine.
now it's on 1. Alright. Alright, welcome to another episode from the 8-Bit Basement, right here. I'm Joe, this is Matt. Now, we may not exactly work for Red Dog or really even enjoy drinking the beer, but we do like the light. That's why.
If they want to send us beer, we will absolutely drink
we'll
it.
Take it and we'll put it on the shelf somewhere.
And I'll drink it.
Yes.
And that'd be fine. That'd be fine. So, yeah. But
yeah.
anyways,
we back to the episode. So, what we did recently, we modded a N64 Rumble Pak. So, the mod we did here, there's a little motor in there, but we wanted to make that run off the console, I think, right, Matt?
Absolutely. With this very, very easy mod that if you have even the most rudimentary soldering skills, you can take care of this mod. Basically, it's going to work off the console's power, and you will never need batteries ever again for your Rumble Pak. And we will include in the description a list of all the supported N64 games that use the Rumble Pak, because they don't all utilize the Rumble Pak.
No, they don't. And rudimentary, are you calling yourself rudimentary since you did the mod, or is that just kind of a general statement?
It's it's going to work off the power of the console, Joe. You don't need batteries, Joe.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for explaining that.
Yeah, you don't need batteries anymore.
No. So
for the Rumble Pak, Joe.
Well, hey, this is a good segue.
Yeah.
We get into it.
Yeah. Why don't we get into it?
Cut.
All right, so the first thing we're going to need, obviously, is your N64 Rumble Pak. Make sure it's the official N64 Rumble Pak, not one of those cheap third-party knockoffs. It's not going to work quite the same. In order to gain access to the inside, we need to remove the battery cover. If you can't do this step, hit stop and close your computer. Holding the case together are 2 security screws here, and you can use your security bit screwdriver just like you would use to open an NES game or an N64 game. Just like so, we will remove these 2 screws. There's one. And 2. Once those screws are removed, set them aside. You're definitely going to need those later. The casing opens up very, very easily. On the one side you can see the motor, which causes the rumbling, and on the other side is the board. It's connected by 2 very skinny wires, so just be careful when removing. And you can try in vain and fail, as I did, to remove the connector, eventually giving up and setting it aside. We'll check back in on that later. So as we said, this is a very, very simple modification. All we're going to be doing is relocating one resistor, and that one is located right there near the battery springs. And if that damn motor is still in your way, continue to fail to remove it using a pair of tweezers and your fingers. If you have a good buddy standing by your side who could hand you a fine pair of pliers, you might find some success. Eventually. Yay. Alright, with that stupid motor removed, what you're going to want to do is take your board, flip it on over, and locate the legs to the resistor that is going to be relocated. You're going to want to bend those to about a 45-degree angle, and that'll just ease in removing the resistor. And now once you've got those bent, flip the board back over, and if you don't have fingernails like me, a pair of needle nose tweezers are going to come in handy here. Slide those under the resistor on the front, and with your soldering iron you're going to want to start heating the solder around the legs of the resistor on the back of the board, applying a little bit of pressure with your tweezers on the resistor. And just keep applying heat from your soldering iron, and eventually the resistor will pop right off. And as you can see here, we have our resistor that is going to be relocated. You can also see that I'm showing you the resistor for an uncomfortably long amount of time. The next step here is going to be to straighten the legs of your resistor. You need them to span that gap in between the two pinholes on the board. Yes, here's the resistor again with straight legs. So I'll show you here the best I can the pinholes in which we're going to solder the resistor onto. I realize the connector's in the way, so we are going to move over to a close-up view. So next we want to grab our solder. We're going to apply a small amount of solder to the pinholes. This will make the adhesion and solder much easier to do when the time comes. Oh, before we do that, we're going to apply a small amount of flux using the flux pen. You can grab one of these on Amazon. This makes your soldering job much easier. It makes the adhesion of the flux to the pinhole much, much better. So we'll apply that. With the flux now applied to the board, we're going to just put a small amount of solder onto the pinholes. And like I said, the flux should assist in you doing this. Now you may or may not be able to see that, so we'll just cut over to camera 2 real quick for a close-up. Now with the pinholes tinned, we want to tin the legs of the resistor. That'll just make your soldering job a little bit easier. Now you may need to bend the legs of the resistor a little bit just to get them to line up with the holes, and that's just what I'm doing here. Now with your resistor legs lined up, you can bring back in the soldering iron. And since the pinhole and the legs were tinned, it should just be a quick touch of the soldering iron to adhere the resistor to the board. Finish the one side, and we're just going to tack on the other side. And it's just that easy. The resistor has been relocated, and the Rumble Pak will now work off the power from the console and no longer off of battery power. So from here, we're coming down the home stretch. We just need to reassemble the Rumble Pak. Carefully connect the motor back to the board. Take way too long to figure out how to put this back together because you're an idiot. Snap the tabs back in. And grab those security screws you had and put those back in as well. All right, and there you go. What do you say we test this out?